soup time. So I had to go over to the store to get potatoes because I ran out of potatoes. So I ended up getting a big bag of potatoes, and it only cost me, hang on here a minute, 4.99. So I got this massive bag of potatoes for 4.99, right? So 4.99 for that. I got 2 cans of the diced tomatoes because I do make a lot of soup and stews, and so 1 can. Actually, these were supposed to be on sale. Uh. Well, I might have got ripped off for these because they were supposed to be on sale for $1.99, and it looks like I paid $3.98 for it. Hang on just a minute here. Diced tomatoes. Okay, no, it was a $1.99. So for two, I paid $3.98 for these. And so, basically what I do is I put a can of tomato soup or a can of tomatoes in. Sometimes I even put like spaghetti sauces, anything that'll give it that tomatoey taste. I'm just having a bad day, a bad hair day. And then I got to throw in my soup because I have a hard time keeping the vegetables fresh. And so I got a bag of the frozen vegetables, and the frozen vegetables cost, sorry, I have to put the glasses back on. Damn old age starting to suck. Okay, so the California vegetables. So $3.79 for the vegetables, $3.98 for 2 cans of tomatoes, and $4.99 for a big bag of potatoes. And then I ran out of ginger, and I chew ginger to keep my blood pressure down. So I got 2 little things of ginger for $1.31, and I'll show you what I do with them because I ran out, and so I chew it, and it'll take my blood pressure down. So this is what I do. I cut it into coins. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. If you are trying to quit smoking, now I quit smoking 8 years ago when I had my stroke, and I chew ginger. And I chew ginger not only to bring my anxiety down, to give me that feeling satiety, when like satiation, so that I'm not always wanting to eat. So it does that for me. It also lowers my blood pressure. So all I do is I cut it into coins, and I use a potato peeler, the old-fashioned kind, because they never break. And yeah, I would rather use this one. I have a brand new one, but I don't like it. So I'd rather use my old one. And I've had this one since my kids were babies. This old one, yeah. And then I just cut it in half, and I chew it. That's it. Okay. Now, a roll of the chicken. I thought I had bought hamburger, but I didn't. I bought chicken. So I'm going to fry that up. And then I'm going to take my crock pot, and I'm going to put my vegetables in. I'm going to boil up some potatoes. I'm going to put a can of tomato soup in. I've got some carrots in the fridge. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'll put this all in here for now. Check them out on YouTube, Big Joe and Malia. Big Joe and Malia's work, they're amazing. It's a couple from Tennessee, and they are just absolutely amazing. She was a teacher. I'm not sure if she's still a teacher, but she was a teacher. When I first started watching them, she was a teacher. Okay, so I've got a little bit of water in here, not much, a little bit. 1 can of tomatoes. 1 can of tomatoes, and I need onions. Go and buy my meat from the Giant Tiger. It's a store where I am in Canada, and it's really it's cheap. The stuff is cheap there, so and I usually buy my meat there. And what the meat is it's rolls of chicken or rolls of hamburger, or rolls of beef, I should say, and I think basically what it is it is the remnants. You know, when you get cow meat in a factory, you know, there's remnants. There's parts of the meat that are not the choice cut, and so they're all put into a vat and they're mixed up, and that's what I purchase. I mean, it keeps me alive. It makes my soup, you know. So I don't know for sure if it's all chicken. Might have some beef in it, might have some wieners in it, might have some whatever pork chops in it. I don't know. It's kind of like a minced, um, you know, the remnants that are left from a lot of the meat, right? So, you know, it keeps me alive. That's all. It keeps me alive. Yeah. So I'm gonna chop up some garlic, and I'll put that in with the chicken, the ground chicken or the minced chicken, I guess you call it. To be honest with you, I never knew that you called it minced. Never knew that. I never paid attention. When my mom was cooking, I was out climbing trees. I was a bit of a tomboy, so, you know, yeah, I didn't pay much attention. When I did start paying attention was when I was married. The first time I was married, my mother-in-law, oh, that woman could cook. I mean, my mother could cook too, don't get me wrong. She was a good cook. But I didn't pay any attention when she cooked because she was my mom. But when my mother-in-law started cooking, and I kind of thought, hey, that tastes good. I want to do that. Yeah. You know, I paid a little bit more attention. And I had an Aunt Jackie, and she would make canned tomatoes, she would make canned meat, she would make pickles, she would make, like, you know. The only thing I paid attention when my mom was cooking was dessert, because she made amazing twisters and things like that. Like yeah. Okay. So that's my garlic. Now I need an onion. Only have 2 onions left. That's it. 2 onions. That's it. And I got them off the cheap rack. Yeah. They were on the cheap rack. So, you know, they were going to sell them because they were starting to go soft. Like basically all it would take would be a garden. Like if I had the land to have a garden, I wouldn't be struggling for food at all. No, not at all. Because I do know how to I know how to grow food. I know that much. Last year, last year I grew food on my balcony. I had radishes and cucumbers and uh, like lettuce. Yeah, I had a lot. Had bok choy. I even grew bok choy, and um, I grew the bok choy from remnants from the store. So onion. I had bought bok choy, and yeah, I ate most of it, and then when it got down to the core of the bok choy, what I did is I basically planted it. I popped it in a pot with some soil, and I grew it, and it grew, and it tasted good. It tasted good. Okay, so let that cook. I've got the tomatoes in there. Now I gotta cut the potatoes up and put them on to boil. Okay. I got 1 onion left, and I think I might just save it. Yeah, might just save it. Because a pot of soup will last me quite a while. So I got 1 onion left, so I'll save it. And I think what I'm going to do is, I wish I had a compost. Oh, if I had a compost. Like, I feel so guilty when I take this down to the garbage room, and it's vegetables. It's like, you know, it's like food that could go to the pigs. You could feed it to the pigs if you had a farm. If you had, you know, compost, you could actually put it in the compost and, you know, basically put it back into the soil, replenish the nutrients in the soil. I don't really think, like, you know, most people when you're making your meals, right, you'll say, I'm going to have a pork chop tonight, or I'm going to have hamburger tonight. Well, no, not me, not me. Usually it's, if I don't have soup, I have something simple because it is just me, right? Now, if I had family members or something for a meal, it'd be different. I might cook like pork chops. I might make you know, a big thing of spaghetti. And actually that's a lie, because sometimes I do make spaghetti. Yeah, sometimes I do make spaghetti. I'll make a big pot of spaghetti and freeze it. Like the sauce, not the noodles. The noodles I won't freeze. I just basically take a handful and boil it, and then, but the sauce, I can do that. I can make a lot of sauce and then just put it in the freezer. And, you know, it helps because then I don't have to cook. I don't have to do a lot of cooking. And I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But I do love my soups. And sometimes I will take half of this, and I might do that this time. Take half of this, put it in the soup, and put the other half for poutine, or for, what do you call that? I make poutine, and what are they called? You know those little chips that are very inflammatory? What are they called? Corn chips? Yeah, yeah, tacos, nachos. Yeah, so sometimes, occasionally, not all the time, I'll make nachos. So the things that I purchase, usually I purchase things that I can, you know, I can use in different types of meals, right? So like a can of tomato sauce, or a canned tomatoes. I can put it in my soup. I can put it in nachos. I can put it in, you can even put it in your gravies. Mind you, I don't, but I mean, there's so many different things you can do with the products that I buy. I make sure that there's multi-uses, that it's not just that I'm buying something and I have to make soup all the time. I don't have to. I choose to. Now, basically, I've got the hamburger on, or hamburger chicken. The chicken's on. The tomatoes are in some water. Then I have, over here, I have the potatoes, and that pot right there, that has got an inhalant in it. It's got cloves in it, pepper in it, cinnamon, nutmeg, and I inhale it whenever I feel a cold coming on. And yesterday I felt sick. Like basically yesterday I slept almost, like I almost slept all day. Seriously. So once this is cooked, I will cut it up, make it smaller pieces, and then I'll just put it in with the tomatoes. When the potatoes are done, I will rinse them. I will what do you call that? Drain them and rinse them, and then put them in. And then there's one thing I missed. So a lot of the times the potatoes will go really fast, right, when they're in the soup, because I mean, who doesn't like potatoes, right? I mean, it's kind of filling, right? So I have got this. It was 3 something, and it's a pretty big size for one person. It's called California blend, right? So I'm going to take, and I'm going to put this in with the tomato soup and the water. Tostitas. Tostitas. So I put some of that in too. I think I might just put it all in. There's only half a jar left. I save these jars because I do keep a lot of my food in it in storage, so I do save these. So, and it smells so good. Smells so good. So, but you can't beat it, right? You can't beat it. It's simple, it's easy to make, it's cheap. I mean, for all that food, I paid $14. $14. And I have another can of tomato. I have like potatoes that'll last me forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, will last me a long time. So basically, I can feed myself, and it's the truth, I can feed myself a month. $50 to $100 a month. I can feed myself. Yeah, yeah, and I'm not starving. Trust me, I'm not starving. I'm 130 pounds. I have a tendency to kind of go up and down on that scale, maybe 130, 135. But I know when I'm getting that inflammation. I know what causes it. The root cause of my inflammation is if I have anything with sugar and if I eat white bread. White bread, if I eat a lot of white noodles, I get that inflammation and that scale will go up. I stop, I cut out those foods, I eat the one meal a day, I drink my kefir religiously, and you know what? That scale stays at 130. Now we're talking about a girl who was 200 pounds. And you know, that's not a good size for me. I was 200 pounds years ago. I've been on and off that roller coaster scale for years, years and years, ever since I was a young woman. I would go from 125 to 130 to 140, then it started 150. And I was well built. I was pretty well stocked. I was, you know, I used to be able to lift 50-pound jerry cans onto a deuce and a half or a 5-ton loaded up by myself with no problem when I was in the military. I was strong. I was very, very strong. But I went on a thing that they called in the military, they called it piggy parade. And they would put you on a diet, a strict diet, and an exercise regime. And so I would go and I would swim a mile and a half every day. I wasn't a good runner, but you know, I made it on my mile and a half. I passed my mile and a half, but I would swim daily, religiously. I lost all that weight. I went down to 110 pounds and I look damn fine. I look damn fine. And now I'm 63 years old. I've had, I've had a heart attack. I've had a couple of strokes. I had some bouts of cancer. And, you know, I'm able to maintain 130 pounds if I choose to. Now, let's not say loosely if I choose to. Um, if I'm not if I'm not focused, if I'm not conscious of what I'm eating, that scale will go up very easily. But I also know how to bring that scale down very easily. And it's not as tough as everybody says it is. And trust me, I have my weekends when I go and I have, you know, bag of chips or chocolate bar or whatever. I mean, last weekend I bought a 2 for 1 at the dollar store, those coconut bars. And yeah, you know. But I also know when to call it quits. When that scale doesn't move from, 135, it doesn't go down in the morning, and usually in the morning you weigh less, right? So if that scale doesn't go down, well, the next day I'm right back on it. I'm on OMAD, I'm walking my 8 kilometers. I'm very conscious on what I put into my mouth, what I eat. So that's all you got to do, basically. It's not as tough as everybody says it is, trust me. Okay, so potatoes, I'm going to drain them. It's almost 8 o'clock. 7. Hang on. I got to put my glasses on. 7:14. So I'm not going to eat tonight because I already ate. I had a sourdough toasted tuna sandwich. Tuna melt? Yeah, but with sourdough bread. So that's what I had for dinner. That's all I'm going to have. Tomorrow, once again, I got to get my walk in. Today I didn't get it in because I wasn't feeling the greatest. But I mean, I have half of the hamburger I can have for tostitos or for poutine, whatever. And I have potatoes left. Yeah. So, and a whole pot of soup. But how can you beat that? You can't. You can't. Anyway, I got some dishes to do. So I shall see you in the next video. The good Lord be willing. Take care and eat wisely, wisely.